the best piece of advice I'd say is just simply, if you do it, I mean, you'll see whether you like it or not. And if you like it or not, that's how you go about it. So simply doing it and being active on it.
In this video, we're going to go over 7 strategies to dominate selling books in 2025. I'm here with Max, who's done about 20,000 net in profit, 61,000 in sales the last 30 days. Welcome to the channel again, and take it away, brother.
Yeah, well, there's many ways to be profitable in the book business, I'd say, and it's really just simply finding the right tools. And there's not one way to do it. That's the beautiful thing about it. I do a wide range of things, and I've found success in almost every single one of them because of how advantageous the margins are and how essentially easy it is to get into now compared to where it was 10 years ago.
So what's strategy number 1?
Strategy number 1 is sourcing creatively. I know they give a list of creative sources to go to, like libraries and estate sales and yard sales, and they can do very well for yourself. And honestly, I wouldn't discount them at all, but something you got to realize is there's plenty of sources that nobody talks about because they're either so incredibly niche to your local area or simply don't happen too often. And for that reason, they get looked over very heavily.
Mm-hmm. You want to give us a gem or two of maybe some creative sourcing strategies?
Well, a good example of sourcing is reaching out to friends. I know that it's not talked about too often because it's not greatly sustainable, but if you're widely networked and you're well known to people, just for having books, and people will come to you and say, hey, I have all these books. I know many people, they go on Facebook and they just say, I'll do free book pickups, and they have great luck with that. And it's always a solid source as long as you're vetting the people who you get sources from, and it makes your time quite valuable if you find the right people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's strategy number 2?
Strategy number 2 is simply staying consistent. If you stay consistent, that's how you win the game.
Yep. That's huge. That's enough right there. What's strategy number 3?
Strategy number 3 is finding the niche books. If you find niche books that don't sell too often, long tail inventory can be pretty solid as long as you treat it right, because there's an inherent risk in selling long tail inventory. Like, for example, there might be an item where it sells for $300, but for some reason somebody comes up with a $9 offer and then the entire listing's shot. But the thing about it is if you go in decent numbers, then hypothetically it should even out in average. So if you're sending in, let's say, 20 long tail items and your storage costs on them are maybe $20 combined over 3 or 4 months, and you make one item that sells, let's say, for $80 of profit, then you're already in the green there. It's just a risk that you have to tolerate and deal with.
Yeah. Is that 3? Are we on 4?
I think that's 3.
Okay. What is number 4?
Number 4 is finding right people for it. So I told you that I have employees who list stuff, but the tricky thing about it is not everyone is cut out for it. Not everyone has the personality to do extremely well in the business. I know some people, I've heard of some people who go out and source and they see another person scanning and they wait until they're fully out of the thrift store before they start scanning. So it's essentially, you need to be assertive and you need to have almost the personality and fascination by it, because if you don't have passion for scanning books, then honestly your time might be better elsewhere in other ventures, because you need to really need to enjoy the art form of going into either a thrift store or being thrifty and finding stuff that not many people probably would want, or a lot of people would want if you're selling in high volume.
Yeah, and I think there's different approaches to that too. I think you're more on the side of you really enjoy doing it. And I ask you, do you put headphones on when you go scan? And you're like, no, I want 100% of my focus on the data. I want to make sure I'm making the right decisions. I think that's great. I actually took more of like a brute force approach back in the day, where I would just put on, maybe it's a Joe Rogan podcast, maybe it's Good to Great audiobook. Maybe it's the Alchemist audiobook, whatever. I'm listening to like a book almost every day. And what allowed me to be passionate about this business was I could educate myself via podcast and just scan like a madman. And I tried scanning several thousand books a day, and I would just track my scans or how much time I spent in the thrift store. And that was kind of like, that's what made it fun for me. So I think if you can find a way to make it fun, like if you go to the gym and you have fun working out at the gym, it's the same thing. You're going to keep working out. Like if you're in a thrift store and you have fun doing it, any business, like it shouldn't be too painful, because if it's too painful, you're not going to be in the business for very long. So you have to find a business that, I don't want to say you can tolerate, but you can find that aspect of fun to it, and then you're going to dominate because now you're having fun. Like the best wrestlers have fun training. Like they have fun killing themselves, you know, doing cardio. Like it's like a game for them. It's like, how tired can I get? And, you know, anyway, I could talk for hours about that, but that is definitely a hack, and I'm glad you brought that up. So is that number 5?
I think that's number 4, I think, but I want to add on to that previously. Yeah. A good tip of advice to actually doing it is if you have people on board, have a friend on call or bring a friend with you. And if you have somebody to talk to, of course, there's people in thrift stores you can talk to. You can start conversation and just be personable. But if you have a person you like talking to or you like spending time with, it doesn't become a job. It just becomes really a hobby that you do. And
heck yeah. So those are 2 different approaches to make it fun. What would you say strategy number 5 would be?
Strategy number 5 is, I mean, you're going to run into problems in the business, whether you're going to be gated or you're going to have just a simple black flow or you're going to be backed up. And I think something you got to realize is one issue is not going to be the end of the business. And that's really important in saying, because the difference between a hobby and a business is you either hold on or you don't. And every successful business person, you don't see Jeff Bezos jumping ship a year into the business when they have a hard time getting funding. And it's just simply staying consistent and keeping that work done.
Yep. Number 6.
Number 6 really is just holding up that mindset. I know I just talked about having problem solving, but if you have the mindset where you think you're going to succeed, you're going to be right in that. If something a buddy tells me all the time is, if you think you can do it, you're going to be right on that. And if you think that you're going to do absolutely nothing with your life, I mean, you're going to drift exactly to that and get the exact result that you wished for.
Yeah. Whether you think you can do it or you can't, you're right.
And it really raises questions, because there's different paths that you can take in choosing your business and how you go about it. And sometimes I wonder whether the business makes the person or whether the person makes the business. And that's something that you have to realize, that it's some of both. It's impossible to say that one's solely one or the other, because I definitely wouldn't be as inclined in the book business if I didn't do this one decision, like I didn't go to college before or later. And you got to realize that we're essentially just on a path here, and you have to set yourself in the right direction.
100%. What's number 7?
Well, number 7 has to be the best piece of advice, I'd say. And the best piece of advice, I'd say, is just simply doing it. If you do it, I mean, you'll see whether you like it or not. And if you like it or not, that's how you go about it. So simply doing it and being active on it. Because I've seen many people who go in and they don't learn any patterns. They don't memorize any of the books. That's something I do. You memorize all the good and the bad books, especially with time. If you get into memory, and you eventually become skilled at it, because it just takes time, but eventually you'll get a grip of things and you'll be really good. And I think anyone can really go in that avenue, but simply doing it is the best way to go about it, because if you don't do it, then you won't ever know.
Heck yeah. Wise words. And real quick, before we end this video, I want to talk about how, I think I personally was able to get to about 20,000 in sales a few years ago, strictly cherry picking. And really that was supplemented with liquidation deals. So I kind of cheated. And then I did 80,000 in sales, all books, in August, because I launched a consignment business, restrictedinventory.com. Grind hard, well done. Which then I sold, I think 4 years later, I sold. That business made me 200,000 net one year. That was my first business that made me over 6 figures. And now you're doing a consignment business. And what I had was a textbook consignment business, helping resellers make money on their restricted textbooks. What you have is a consignment business for CDs, DVDs, different brands. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? And I'll link all your information below too.
Yeah, so many discs, because discs are definitely a way to go in the business, because they're smaller and they're easier to ship out and there's less storage costs. So many individual businesses I've seen, they've almost gone solely over to discs, or they primarily focus in it. But a big downside of it compared to books is many brands are gated, and that's definitely an issue that arises. I know folks who don't even go into the disc game because they're gated in the brands and they can't get ungated from it. And some brands are hard gated, so that's an issue for setting it up. So something that you can do to raise more revenue and maximize your profits is simply, you can send the items to me. I'll have an address in the fax page below, and I can essentially consign the items 50-50 for you, and I'll have a sheet that logs everything. and from there you'll be able to earn money, pay out however you like, Venmo, Cash App, check, whatever you want. And I essentially earn money for your work that could have been lost by just simply throwing the time onto eBay and list them. And many items don't even have resale values on eBay, so it's simply just monetizing those items which you could have lost money on or could have lost money out on opportunity cost.
100%. So this is endorsed by Mike the Used Book Guy. If you guys don't know him, go check him out on YouTube. But he's a renowned seller in the community, and he trusts Max, so I trust Max. Much love, brother. Thanks for coming on. And again, you guys can follow Max below. He's also in the Go-To Lister Facebook community, so if you guys have questions, you can reach out to him there.
Hell yeah.